Listen up. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to the podcast participants, and not to any participant's employer, organization, committee, or other group or individual. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. You know, for fun. So lighten up and enjoy. Oh my. It's your old pal Sawtooth again. All by myself. I don't want a podcast all by myself. Yep, it's just me. And I am going to do yet again something different. This episode, I'm going to read a poem that I wrote. And I'll talk to you more about that after the introduction music.
The Soft Serve Podcast.
You're a loser, a scumbag, lower than scum. You are a absolute zero. Lower than scum. A scumbag. Absolute zero.
Absolute zero, yeah. Absolute zero, yeah. Oh boy. You know, I'm still trying to figure out where I should come in on that music. I'm not entirely sure yet. Definitely have to wait for the first loon to do its loony howl. Okay. Oh man, well, in full transparency, my throat and mouth are all fucked up because I just ate a big bowl of chili with a bunch of habanero Ghost Reaper pepper sauce on it. Yeah, so my throat is all phlegmy and my lips and mouth are a little bit numb still. So bear with me, please. All right, so, like I said before the intro music, whether you find this to be an unfortunate thing or a fortunate thing, it's just me, your old pal Sawtooth, all by myself. Stomping Jen is out and about, and I am here all by myself, with my burning mouth and my phlegmy throat. For you to listen to, my dear listeners. So, I want to say, before I jump into reading my poem, I got no feedback on my review of U2's The Joshua Tree album. Now, compared to the previous episode when I asked for a bunch of feedback, a handful of people wrote me and shared some thoughts. Well, this time around, absolutely nothing. I got the old crickets. That's fine. I mean, even when we were doing the podcast, me and Jen, and we were getting pretty impressive download numbers, nobody ever commented or wrote to us, so I don't really care. So I'm just pointing that out. If you're thinking about sending me a note, send me a note. So, this show, again, I want to keep these quick. And if I can get this done in under 20 minutes, that would be awesome. I might be able to for this episode. I'm going to read a poem that I wrote. You may not know this. I used to write poetry. And if you're a longtime listener of the show, you almost certainly know this. Stomping Jen and I met in a poetry club at UMass Amherst. That is how we came together. Without that poetry club, there would be no Soft Serve podcast. There wouldn't be a lot of stuff without that poetry club, actually. So, I owe it quite a bit. So anyways, I used to write poems, and I haven't done that, probably in a serious way for over 10 years. In 2005, I self-published. I know, that's kind of lame, but still, I self-published my second collection of poems, called Monolith Vendors. And I am going to read to you the title poem from that collection. Now, as a collection, a lot of those poems, I think, are pretty dark and deal with themes of death and, what else is new, right? All the stuff I think about all the time. But at that particular time, way back in 2005, within the span of 2 years, I had lost 3 people who were pretty prominent figures in my life. My uncle on my mother's side, my grandmother on my mother's side. They went in 2004 and in 2006 maybe, and sort of in between there in 2005 was my mother. So in 2005, so this it was my mother. So this was a period of time in my life, like a lot of young adults. This is not unique. When you are sort of, I think, in your 30s and 40s, and some people, I guess, are luckier and don't have to deal with this later in life. You begin losing your parents and people of their generation. So, that happened to me in my early 30s. My father lasted a bit longer. He died in, 2022, I think, something like that. Anyways, so this poem, Monolith Vendors, is from that second collection of poems that I wrote. So I'm going to read it to you. I wish I could, I want to say I wish I could say there was something I could say about it ahead of reading it. Except I don't really know what it means. It reads sort of like, it is written like a poem, but it also kind of reads like a very short story, I guess. You'll see there's certainly themes of death in there. But without further ado, let me go ahead and read you this poem, okay? Here we go. Monolith Vendors. Castro's beard was captured in Little Havana, trying to start a revolution. Manuel, the barber on Calle Roja, who was no friend of Fidel's, swept up Castro's beard with his broom. Manuel placed the beard in a dill pickle jar and called the FBI. Interrogation proved useless against Castro's infiltrating beard. Torture, truth serum, and offers of amnesty. None of these tactics worked. The FBI made offers of money, to which Castro's beard just laughed and said, "Try again." Following months of imprisonment and high-level risk assessment, the FBI released Castro's beard. A revolution in the United States was unlikely. Finding work was not difficult. Castro's beard was offered a job to write for the socialist rag, La Revolución. The the Department of Labor issued a work visa. The beard was determined to make something of itself. Having lived in Cuba on a dictator's face, Castro's beard wrote the best articles on socialism anybody had ever read. The disembodied beard worked its way to the top. Staff writer to lead writer to editor-in-chief. Life was good for the transplanted ideologue. The beard bought a car and a small bungalow. None of it belonged to Cuba. Castro's beard was happy for a long time. Many years later, on a cool evening, Castro's beard was watching television and eating dinner at home in Little Havana. There was a knock on the door. Not expecting company, the beard said, "Who is it?" There was a very long pause before the reply. "Somos los amigos de Fidel Castro. Señor Castro está muerto." "We are the friends of Fidel. Mr. Castro is dead." The day Castro's beard had been dreading had arrived. The beard opened its front door. Two men, dressed in black suits, with skin the color of gold, stood on the porch. The men smelled of cigar smoke, rum, and fresh limes. They were crying. "Stay here," said Castro's beard. The beard went to its bedroom and took a suitcase from the closet and started packing. The men waited on the porch. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, of mourners passed by the glass coffin of Fidel Castro. The line of people waiting to see the dead president's body at Revolution Square stretched for miles. From its perch on Fidel's cold, dead chin, Castro's beard regarded each mourner with gratitude. Most were silent. Some said long and whispering prayers. Others wailed and screamed with unfathomable grief. An old woman addressed Castro's beard directly. "I'm so glad you're home," she said, wiping away tears. "You belong here, on the face of our leader." Deep down inside, Castro's beard was certain the old woman was right. "May I ask you a question?" said the beard to the woman. The old woman blew her nose into a rag and nodded. "Did Fidel forget me? Did he hate me for failing?" "Never," the woman said to the beard, dropping her handkerchief. She was smiling. "He loved you for trying." Okay, there you have it. That's my poem, Monolith Vendors. Now, I have, because, obviously, I self-published this poem, and it was never printed in an actual book or on a website or anything. I have constantly revised this poem over the years. And in fact, I even did a little of that recently in the last couple of days to update it a bit and flesh it out. It's funny. I have traditionally not been somebody who really likes the process of revision, but I think for poems especially, I can tinker endlessly with them. Move a word here, put a line break there. And I'm always looking for ways to cut out words or find a better word than the one that's there. It's sort of maddening the way that process can go on endlessly if you let it. And, I'm a total amateur, by the way. I am not a real poet in the sense that I'm committed to the craft. And I'm not somebody, like our good friend Joshua Michael Stewart, who is an actual published poet who has spent decades practicing the craft and dedicating himself to the work. When it comes to poems, that is not me. So, but I still like that story, whether it was in the form of a poem or sort of written out more in prose form. I don't know how it became the title poem for that collection, Monolith Vendors. And honestly, I don't know how I got the idea for it. Again, I don't know what any of it means. I will post the poem in the show notes so you can look at it and read it if you want to. But there it is. Now, I have another, for another episode coming up soon, there's another poem/story that I wrote a couple of years ago when I was going through some shit that I will share with you. But I don't want to talk about it right now. Anyways, so, hey folks, this is Sawtooth busting in on my own podcast episode. I just wanted you to hear these outtakes from me trying to read the poem that I just finished here. I think I must have started and stopped it 9 to 10 times. There were mistakes made, interruptions. Anyways, I thought you might find it amusing to see what actually goes into trying to do one of these readings on the podcast. I think it would probably go better live, honestly. But when I'm recording, I don't know, I have some sort of internal barometer that is telling me whether something's acceptable or not. Anyways, I wanted you to hear this. I thought you might enjoy it, so here you go. Who was no friend of Fidel's. Let's start over. Scratch this. I'm going to reread it. I unfortunately gendered the beard. Let's try this again. The beard opened its front door. Fuck. I have to completely re-record this thing now. Motherfucker. The beard opened its front door. Fuck! Castro's beard was captured in Little Havana. Motherfucker. Interrogation proved useless. Motherfucker! Alright, those were the outtakes from my attempt at trying to read Monolith Vendors. Now, back to our regularly recorded podcast episode. That's it. I think that's everything I had to share with you. Like I said, quick episodes. I want these to be punchy and fast. In and out, as they like to say. In and out. All right, well, look. Despite me saying earlier I don't care if you give me feedback, that was a lie. I do care. I love feedback. I crave it. So I would love to hear from you. If you want to send me an email, leave me a comment on our Instagram account, our Facebook account. For each one of these episodes, I do put out little promotional posts. So that would be a great place to leave a comment. Or if you want to email, you can do softservepodcast@gmail.com. I mentioned before, we have a contact form on our website. You can go there and leave comments if you want. It would be great if you did that, actually, because I pay a shit ton of money to maintain that website. And it would be great if somebody actually used it once. And not people looking to entice me into a business arrangement to get me more likes and follows. That I don't care about. I don't care about likes and follows or monetizing. Okay. I think that's it. So, and this is hard for me. You know that. I'm just going to say see you later and sign off with my bye now.
This world of ours, ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate. Those who have freedom will understand also its heavy responsibility. That all who are insensitive to the needs of others will learn charity, and that the sources, scourges of poverty, disease, and ignorance will be made disappear from the earth. And that in the goodness of time, all peoples will come to live together in a peace guaranteed by the binding force of mutual respect and love. I shall never cease to do what little I can to help the world advance along that road.